Good afternoon, guys. I really hope everybody is well. Friday afternoon. So I'm going to dive in and do a live stream. I'm going to try and get a decent session today, maybe about an hour and a half, see how we get on. The first one is going to be on arcade, output arcade. Now, I thought it'd be fun just to try making, well, getting as far as I can in kind of half an hour. I'm going to set a timer to do that and try and find all the parts using Outputs Arcade. Now, I've always been quite um, not someone who uses a lot of melodic loops. I do obviously use loops for drums and stuff like that, but I usually wouldn't use melodic loops because I kind of feel like I'm cheating a little bit, which is kind of ironic because I co-founded a sample pack company. But in my own music, I always kind of try and either record stuff myself or use other people. But I've actually really got into GarageBand on my iPhone. In the mornings, I have a little blast, and it's just so much fun. And it kind of got me into actually just working with a few more loops and going between the two. So sometimes trying to record everything myself, sometimes using other people, and sometimes literally just taking loop ideas, chopping them up, and coming up with my own arrangements, and then adding to them afterwards. So I thought it'd be quite interesting just to try a little experiment of see what I could get out of output arcade in half an hour. So I've made this ahead of time. I've got lots of tracks. Well, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks, each one with an arcade loaded on, and I'm going to try and find parts to fill the sonic kind of space using these arcades. So I'll dive right in. So I did actually just then try and find a kick, which I think I did. Yeah, so I'm going to try this kick drum. So I set it. So if you don't know Output Arcade, it's like a sample library which is amazing because it locks to your. Let me just stop that a sec. Stop! It locks to your key and your BPM. It's amazing. So let's just load this in. I drag it onto the keyboard, and there it is. So I could actually program something myself. It doesn't have to be the loop. So let's try that. That's quite useful. My metronome stopped halfway through. Just put a little swing on. Okay, so we've got a little kick in there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to make yet. So you have like feeds, which are here, which is like it's like almost like your Spotify feed. It's got things that they think you might like. Lines is the different types of sounds they've got them in the artwork. It's just pretty stellar, I'd say, on their stuff. It's really cool. Not sure what that one is. Drip looks cool. You've got kits, which is individual groups of sounds that go well together within each line. Then you have individual loops. So let's try clap. I find actually the loops can be a little bit harder to find stuff which sounds good in some ways. Let's try your audition from here. It's not too bad. That's kind of cool. What's this one? Okay, so yeah, we can drag them on and create our own little multi-instruments as well. Okay, so let's try that. just want a simple kind of clap. Let's try searching hip hop. Because I've got a time frame I'm working on, I'm just going to go with that. So I think if I come in here, I thought I could edit this. Yeah. Okay. Make a new track with the same channel strip. Okay, let's leave it there for collapse. And let's come to, let's go to lines. Okay, let's try this one, drum breaks. It's kind of cool, but maybe not. I kind of want some kind of disco-y kind of stuff, but if I go to loops, let's see if I can go and put in disco. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Yeah, that's not bad. So that's clap's really annoying me, so I might just spin that off. So I obviously was playing out of time, so it's gone out of time. I do find the timing sometimes a bit weird. I'll bring that back in, but just quietly. Now I do feel like I need a hat. How long have I got? Oh, I didn't set the timer, so I've bought myself a bit of extra time. Okay, so hat. The quality of the loops is pretty stellar, I have to say. Okay, so if I put in, it's annoying there's not like a disco search function here, in here, which is annoying. What about funk? if I do this? Annoying. So I wonder if I put in disco and then can I search for hat within there? No. Not bad though. So remember, I'm just trying to find raw materials as well. I can always chop this up and mess around with it. Okay, so let's have a look for some bass. Now I could try a line here. So let's try this poolside one's quite cool. Let's try so this will give me an idea of the whole thing. So there's parts of that I really like. This is not bass at all, so I have to rename this. So I'll call this effects. And we'll call this one bass. Okay, so maybe it's better to go straight in. Go back to browse. Can't really hear any bass there, so is there any bass line? What's this one? So I'll see if there's anything in there. I don't know how this has changed, so it should be G minor. That's weird. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, I'm quite feeling it at the moment, I have to say, but I wonder what key this is playing in as well. D minor, weird. Okay. So let's try this one. Let's try that. Okay, so let's try some more poolside ones. I've got some here I've already downloaded. I'm going to put some of that in. Okay, so go back to lines. What's the crate? Okay, let's try this. Let's try this one. Done. No, I don't think that's right. No. Okay, let's go back to poolsides. I'm going to try some of these ones that I've already downloaded. like that. Okay, let's try some Vox. This one's kind of cool. I've downloaded some of these already. Whoa, sorry about that. I'm kind of a bit worried that at some point I've put in sounds that aren't in G minor. That's G minor. You know, it doesn't sound like I have, but that didn't necessarily sound particularly in tune. I think these ones are okay. Yeah, looks good. I don't hate that. The way I didn't play on the beat. So I was thinking okay, so I'm going to bring up our code again, and I've got 15 minutes. I'm halfway through. This one's cool. This rhythm culture is wicked. It's really cool percussion. Say hi, Tuco, who's tuning in. How are you, mate? Are you good? I hope you're good. Just having a mess around with this plugin. Hope you're enjoying it. Okay. Okay, I'm not feeling that, but let's try some of these ones. There's some cool stuff in there. It's not exactly what I was looking for. But yeah, this is probably my favourite one actually. This rhythm culture one's got loads of really cool, just amazingly well recorded and well played stuff. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, let's get some wood block in there. The unforgiving when you're dropping a loop out of time like that. Okay, so we've got 10 minutes. What have we got here again? Okay, so let's move this stuff across and let's just do a little arrangement. This is just so I can bounce the idea down, put it in my sketchbook. So if I decide further down the line, I don't really think this is going to come to anything, but that's a decision I don't make ever when I'm writing the music. I try and make that decision outside the studio when I can listen with fresh ears, with some perspective. Just spilled water, tea all over my keyboard, excuse me. So let's just split by locators. But you can see how, you know, it's kind of fun, and it does take some of the load off, you know, when you're kind of working like this. Not all the time, obviously. I think that's a little bit not cheating, but it's just I think you're pushing yourself if you're just working like this all the time. Sometimes, you know, especially if you're in a bit of a rut, you know, it can be just a good way of getting the juices flowing again. So I'm just kind of, as you can see, I'm just kind of visually arranging this. Really, I'm not going in too deep into what I'm doing. Okay, so that's the kind of idea, Dan. I wonder if I just change my key to G minor and just go to my Apple Loop library and just see if I can. I've got 3 minutes. Let's see if I can bring in some vibes here and see if anything sounds good. kind of cool. Not bad. Come on. It's mostly the beats I think that are a bit weird. It's mostly the kick, I think, that's the problem. I'm just going to stop the timer and pretend it's not there. No, I'm just going to add in the kick and then I'll leave it at that. So one of my biggest challenges making music is actually not getting carried away and spending too long and going down rabbit holes. Can try out some of these breaks instead. Let's bring that in. Okay, so okay, right. So faffing, and faffing is not what I'm here to do. So I'm going to take that off. I've spent pretty much, well, let's say it's probably 40 minutes, and I've come up with a new track idea. I don't know if it's any good or not. I really couldn't tell you. And I just use those sounds. I've ended up muting some of the sounds, but I just wasn't feeling those parts really at all. Although the breakbeat was kind of cool, but let's have a listen. Maybe this could come in an alternative section. Yeah, let's just take that out. It's always good to leave those kind of things in, I think, just so you can hear what they sound like. Because again, I don't really trust my judgment when I'm actually making the music. Great. I think with a bit of work, the beat could be kind of fat sounding. But so this could be the kind of thing where I think the bass line doesn't have enough groove to it. There's not enough elements to have enough groove. So this could be the kind of thing where I could take some of the elements I've used from output, and I could get Chris and record Chris playing some bass, or I could play some bass myself, or I could play something on a synth, and try and get something with a little bit more groove in it. And that could be that. So yeah, so I could basically go from kind of using just loops and then expanding on it and bringing in lots. I could record a vocal, I could do all kinds of things that would then make it my own. Okay, so bounce this down. Okay, jam. In that folder. And then add this to my Trello document. Okay, and I've still got a bit of time. So what I'm going to do later on, I'm going to have a little break, and then I'm going to do another stream where I'm going to be looking at some of these other tracks, starting with, I'm kind of a bit lost as to where I'm at. I think starting with this one, yeah. So this one was in my Discover column, which meant I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I listened to it this morning and I think I know what I want it to be. So now it's a case of drafting what I want it to be and trying to make that happen. And then once it's a basic version of what it needs to be, then it goes into here, and then I decide whether I want to release it, and if it's going to be released, it goes into here, and that's where it has all the mixing and the bells and whistles done to it. Don't want to waste time bells and whistles and mixing stuff, which is going to go in here. So it means that I've got the ability to be able to make a lot more music because I'm not spending my time polishing stuff. Let's face it, that stuff takes wrong place. That stuff takes time. I don't want to be polishing stuff that I don't even know if it's good enough, really. I mean, there's tracks that I've spent hours and hours of my life agonizing over the kick drum, EQ, or whatever, and I haven't even released them. What's the point in that? It's a complete waste of time. There's time I could be doing other things. So these are all the new ideas I've come up with this week, and all of those, with the exception of that one I just did, have all been on my phone. Some of them when I've been on the toilet, I'm not going to lie, which is great because it means that you've got time, yeah, you just constantly making music, and it means you're able to generate a lot more ideas. And some of them, I haven't listened to them since I made them, but some of them I was feeling them at the time, so that's cool. All right, so I'm going to sign off there and go and fill up my tea, and I'm going to come back on and work on this Soulful Thing Thursday track, and so I'll see you back in a minute.